Here we have the next two books in the Circle of Three series. I enjoyed the first two, and I'm enjoying these two as well. It's holding up quite nicely. Hasn't had a dip yet at all. That's good. In these two books, we take a more focused look at two of the characters. Second Sight, the third book, is really focused on Cooper, who's on the cover here. What the cards said, the fourth book really focused on Annie and her experiences with Wicca. So third book, Second Sight, like I said, focused on Cooper. If you remember, she was the kind of rebellious sort of girl, has dyed hair, in a band, really talented with music, etc. Books in here. There we go. So we take a closer look at her. And in this book, she starts to have some kind of weird dreams about some kind of girl who she initially thinks she hasn't seen before. And these dreams continue. And it turns out that they start to enter her waking life. She daydreams a lot without wanting to. She starts to see things occasionally. And in parallel with this, it's brought up very early that a girl has been kidnapped. A girl called Elizabeth Sanger has been kidnapped. No one knows where she is. It becomes apparent in the first roughly quarter or so of the book that the visions Cooper is having are of Elizabeth Sanger in some way. Now this is where the book kind of gets very different from the first two. The first two kind of gave me the impression that the magic in these books was going to be the sort that was kind of, is it magic, is it not, kind of on that line of questioning whether or not it's real. In this book, it takes a very quick turn that the magic is definitely real. And these visions Cooper is having are definitely real, actual magical visions, especially in that a little bit into the book, she uses these to lead the police to Elizabeth Sanger's body. So definitely real. But that's not where the book ends. It actually doesn't anywhere near that. That's not even halfway through. This has repercussions on Cooper. Partly in that somebody leaks to the news that she was the one who led the police to the girl's body, without her wanting to have people know that. And people find out, including her parents, and we start to see some more interaction with her personal life, with her parents, especially with her mother, who was estranged from Cooper's grandmother. I think I might have mentioned in the first video, Cooper's grandmother somehow had some kind of witchy kind of thing about her that Cooper's mother disapproved of. That's explored much more here, and it's shown why Cooper's mother didn't like Cooper's grandmother teaching her anything of that sort. It's not just the case of that Cooper's mother is ultra Christian, for example. You kind of see this in these kind of books, that there's a character who's ultra Christian and they don't want anything to do with any kind of Wicca or anything. It's not actually that. It's actually a little bit more interesting than that, a little bit more depth to Cooper's mother's character. It's kind of fun to explore that, actually. I'm kind of interested to see if we get more information about that in later books. Though aside from that, we also see more of Cooper's band. She's in a band, apparently called Schrodinger's Cat. Nice name. We get to meet at least, all band members, but we really see one specifically, TJ. And they get to talking a little bit, and we'll explore their relationship just a little bit as well. But much of this book is about, after Elizabeth Sanger's body is found, is figuring out who killed her and why. And that gets fairly intense in the book, involving Cooper and her friends, as you might imagine. It would be kind of a shame if it didn't, actually. It comes to a climax that's kind of surprising, and though quite satisfying, actually. So definitely really like this book, the third book, Second Sight. And that brings us into now the fourth book. what the cards said. Focusing around Annie. Annie's here on the cover here. She was the kind of nerdy, quiet kid that Kate is now friends with and is exploring Wicca with. So what the cards said, as you might imagine from the title, cards has to do with tarot cards. Started learning about tarot cards. Kate, Annie, and Cooper are at their Wicca lessons at the bookstore, the Crone Circle, the bookstore. And Annie apparently is really good at this. This is not at all a case of where she sees extremely exact things. They're still kind of vague, but the predictions Annie makes from tarot readings seem to be coming true. And this is really kicked off early in the book where she gives readings at a kind of a carnival or some kind of student carnival thing, some kind of event like that. And some of them come true, and suddenly other kids want to talk to her. They want to get tarot readings from her. They want to hang out with her. They want to be nice to her. And Annie is really liking this. She is not a popular kid. She's very quiet, very reclusive. Getting popularity from doing these tarot readings is something that she's really liking. Over the course of the book, more predictions come true. Some people like it, some people don't. And Annie has to kind of explore what that relationship means to her, between her using her skills to become popular. You know, is it something good? Is it something bad? Is it something that maybe she's changing how she's viewing things in a way that it shouldn't? And that's explored fairly nicely in the book. We really get to see a lot of her character, what she wants, and how this is affecting her life. Also has repercussions directly in her life of her friends. And that affects her relationship with Kate especially, as well as Kate's former friends. In the first book, we saw Kate was friends with some girls, Sherry, Tara, and Jessica. And what Annie does has repercussions for those girls' lives as well. Very direct repercussions, very personal repercussions that I was very happy to see. I don't really want to see books where we have this stuff happening, this weird supernatural kind of stuff, and it's kind of isolated, where it doesn't really affect anything outside the plot of that book. It's nice to see that it's affecting stuff at a larger scale. I'm really happy to see that in this writing. And that's the major part of the book. Going along with this, though, there are a couple of other little, or maybe side things. One related to the cards is that Annie starts to meditate. And we see the girls getting closer to, maybe, possibly, the spiritual side of Wicca. In Second Sight, we see that very, very briefly with Cooper, who gets a statue for her birthday from Kate of a Hawaiian goddess named Pele, who has some dream interaction with Cooper relating to the plot of the book. Very questionable whether this is very much a real Pele or just kind of just something in her dreams. Annie has something very similar in book 4. She has a connection with the goddess, either Hecate or Hecate, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, the Greek goddess or Roman goddess, whichever it is, of magic and darkness. And she talks with, quote unquote, talks in dreams and meditations with Hecate or Hecate, relating to her tarot cards. Very interesting interaction, actually. Showing off relationship with the goddess that you might imagine these kinds of books, maybe all the gods and goddesses are presented as very nice. Hecate, not necessarily so. And it's very nice to see that this isn't just, you know, Wicca is always good and everything else is always bad. It's showing a more nuanced view of this, which I like. Additionally, we see more of Annie's personal life with her aunt. I might have said this in a previous video, but Annie's parents died some years ago. We see that or hear about that anyway, in the first book. Annie and her little sister Meg are living with their aunt Sarah, who's very open-minded. And something's happening with Aunt Sarah. She's apparently doing something in secret, talking to some kind of real estate agent or something like that. And he overhears it on multiple occasions. And she gets it into her head that maybe something big is going to change in her life in a way that she doesn't like, and that's really kind of hurting her inside. But her Aunt Sarah's kind of brushing it off, saying, oh, it's not anything you're thinking. It's just a small thing I'm looking at personally, etc. And it's clear that something else is going on. The twist at the end is one I didn't really see coming until very late. There's something that happens late in the book that kind of telegraphed it. But when the twist comes, it's very clear how everything fell into place. So it's not really out of left field. It's just kind of an interesting surprise for myself and for Annie. So I really liked that, actually. Really liked how that ended up in the book. So that is book 4. Now up to book 4 out of 15. Still exploring this series, still liking it. I'm definitely going to finish this series. Still highly recommend this to people. Very, very nice. Not just for young adults. I'm an adult and I'm loving this stuff. So highly recommend the book series. I'm expecting all the rest are just going to be as good. But I'll read them and report back on them, and we'll see what they're like. So until next time, hope you enjoyed this review and hope this was informative.